Most high-value women advice shows you how to become more desirable, how to look better, how to act more feminine, become the women that men choose. But here's the problem. If your goal is just to be chosen, then your worth is completely in someone else's hands. That is not high value. That is low self-esteem in better packaging. A real high value woman is not built through performance. She is built through self-respect, through the way that she talks to herself and holds herself accountable, the way that she treats her life, treats her body, and the standards that she repeats when no one else is watching. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 5 habits that actually builds a high value woman. And this first habit is the one that everything else depends on. A high value woman stops outsourcing her worth. Now I want you to think about if this is you. Maybe you get dressed and you immediately ask yourself, how will other people think that I look? Or maybe you post something on Instagram or Facebook and you're wondering, what are people going to think of this? When your worth is determined by other people, your self-image is being passed around. And this is the thing that you need to understand. Other people's opinions say nothing about you. If 2 people can look at the same person and have completely different opinions on that person, then what makes that opinion real? Other people's opinions say more about them and how they see the world than they do about you. So if you truly want to become a high value woman, a woman who values herself over other people's opinions, you need to let go of other people's opinions and you need to stop letting them determine your worth. Why would you put all of your power in a man's hands, in a man's opinion of you? So how do you actually do this? Well, that brings us to the next habit. A high value woman lives with direction and not drift. What does this mean? A high value woman doesn't just have standards for dating, she has standards for her life. She has her dream life defined. And I recommend you doing it in an app like reinventapp.io. This is the app that we built for, the reinvention program. And if you go to this website, you can literally build out your vision for your life. And so you could see, first off, we have the life blueprint section. This is where you're going to add different vision items. So basically a vision item is a part of your dream life. So for example, this is actually mine. I weightlift 4 times a week. I run 3 times a week, 5+ miles a run. So right now I weightlift about 3 times a week, and I'm running about 2 times a week. Right now, 2 miles per run. And then I've also defined what my dream body looks like. I just attached this picture that I found from Pinterest, right? And so what you're able to do is you're able to go to each section in your life blueprint and add different vision items. This is actually defining what you want your dream life to look like. But how do you turn this dream life into your actual life? Well, the reality is that your life isn't built randomly. Your life is built in the daily actions that you do. And the daily actions that you do are also called habits. So basically what we do is we turn all these vision items into habits. And you can go to reinventapp.io and do this part for free. The vision part is completely free. So if you click on create habit from vision, right, we can actually create habits based off of all these things, right? And so, for example, I weightlift 4 times a week. That would just simply be weightlifting 4 times a week. So we click create habit. Now, we're not going to get too far into that today. The core pillar to understand is that if you want to become a high value woman, you need to set a direction for your life. You need to define what your dream life actually looks like. So instead of you just drifting, you're actually heading in a direction, because your life is not built randomly, it's built in the daily actions that you do. So in order to determine the daily actions that you need to do to build your dream life, you first have to define it. What's really important to understand when you are building these habits is habit number 3. A high value woman tells herself the truth without cruelty. So basically this means that a high value woman is able to hold herself accountable without collapsing into shame. So when you're building habits, what will happen is that there will be times when you don't do a habit. Now that is okay. A lot of people think that consistency is never making a mistake, but that is not true. Consistency is being able to continue after you make a mistake. The difference between continuing and not continuing has a lot to do with how you talk to yourself and how you hold yourself accountable when you don't do a habit. You can't hate yourself into loving yourself. Let's say you're trying to lose weight, and so you're trying to eat less calories. So instead of just eating whatever you want, now you're only eating 2,000 calories a day. So you've been really trying to do this, and all week you've been doing really well. But it's Sunday, and it was actually a really stressful day. And so you decide, even though you don't want to, you decide to binge eat, because it always makes you feel better. And so you binge eat, and then you beat yourself up. You say, well, of course you did. You never stick to habits. You're never able to lose weight. Why would you think that you could lose weight? Every single time you try, you fail. Now, when you talk to yourself like this, do you think it is making it easier for you to stick to this habit in the future or harder? Visualize you had a kid who was trying to stick to this habit. On Sunday they binge eat. Would you talk to your kid like that? Why do you think that you can lose weight? Every single time that you try, you always fail. I hate you. Do you think talking to your kid that way would make it easier or harder for your kid in the future to stick to that habit? The way that you hold yourself accountable when you fail, when you do not do your habits, is extremely important because, again, the way that you coach yourself either instills or inhibits your self-belief, which is one of the biggest factors in how easy it is for you to stick to a habit. A high-value woman is able to tell herself the truth without collapsing into shame, and she does not call self-hatred accountability. Now, habit number 4, a high-value woman treats her body like her life depends on it. A lot of women call themselves ambitious, but they sleep for 4 hours, they live off of caffeine, skip meals, never work out, and try to fix it all with taking a new trending supplement. And then they wonder why they feel anxious and groggy and low energy. So a high-value woman does not vaguely say, yeah, I need to take better care of myself. A high-value woman understands if she wants to optimize her health, she needs to optimize the 3 key pillars first. She chooses one area and starts tracking it, because tracking is how she stops guessing and starts leading herself. If it's movement, she tracks her workout and makes an effort to increase the amount of workouts that she's doing each week. If it's nutrition, she tracks her calories, reduces the amount of junk food she's eating, and increases the amount of whole foods. If it's sleep, she stops eating as long as possible before bed and tries to get a consistent 7+ hours of sleep per night. This is basic stuff, but the reality is that most women aren't doing these 3 things. And instead of doing the work that they know that they should be doing, instead they try to solve their anxiety, their groggy, and their low energy issues with supplements, with caffeine. It takes work. It takes sacrifice, and it takes a change of her current routines and habits. And pillar number 5, a high-value woman presents herself like she respects herself. Now, most people get this wrong. They think that becoming a high-value person first starts with how you present yourself. First starts with buying the matching Aloe workout set, or, buying new clothes, buying new makeup. But the reality is, this isn't the foundation. The way that you present yourself is the external signal of how you treat yourself internally. This means daily grooming, having a skincare routine, not leaving the house in a way that contradicts the woman that she's becoming. This is very important. She does not present herself in a way to earn value. She presents herself well because she has already decided that she is valuable. One is coming from insecurity and the other comes from self-respect. Now, changing the way that you present yourself is one part of my 3-part framework called the reinvention method, which is a method that you can use to reinvent yourself into a high-value woman. So if you want to watch that video where I actually break it down, you can click the video on the screen right now. And if you want to join the reinvention program where I help you become a high-value woman, you can book a free call with me. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching.